Welcome to the forecast for September 16th to September 22nd. This is the week to really pay attention, and I will tell you why soon. My name is Desiree DeLune, your acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer, and I am here to share with you what we've got happening this coming week. There's an eclipse, and it's important to pay attention to this eclipse, and that's happening on Tuesday. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And while I do, please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified, and feel free to share this video with anyone else who needs to know what's coming up and what to look out for as we are entering an eclipse season. Okay, so pay attention. This is the big thing, because a lot of what you're going to notice and what you're going to see in this next even couple of weeks, because there is a window after an eclipse to pay attention to, that it is going to operate like a foreshadowing of your next year and a half. Well, the year of 2025 and part of 2026. So we'll dive into that once we get to the eclipse. Now I'm going to talk about Monday first, but listen all through Monday, because a lot of the planets and the aspects that I talk about on Monday are being carried out throughout the rest of the week. It's the moon that moves around the most, but a lot of the other planets I'm discussing are going to be influencing us for the whole week. So please stick around for all of Monday and definitely Tuesday, because that's when we're talking about the eclipse. It is the day of the eclipse. All right, so let's begin here with our Sun and Mercury in Virgo. We are knee deep in Virgo season. We just have a little bit left of Virgo with the Sun, but Mercury is in its home sign here, so it's super happy. This means that we are doing a lot of rearranging, and we talked about detoxifying your schedule last week. This is about creating more efficiency and optimization and finding what is most useful, most valuable, and cutting out the rest, discarding the rest. That's what Virgo likes to do. It likes to order the chaos. It likes to clear the clutter. I'm a Virgo rising, so this is absolutely my jam. It cares about progress, improvement, perfectionism, making things as best as they possibly can. Sometimes it could be a little bit negative because it's so good at pointing out what's wrong and what the flaws are, but not just to be negative, but to improve the whole situation. Okay, I'm standing up for myself and my fellow Virgo energies out there. But there is a fine analytical quality that's available to us here, especially with Mercury. Mercury is our thinking, it's our mind, and if you don't have Mercury in Virgo, you get to experience what Mercury in Virgo is like, essentially. That's what's cool, is that we can relate to one another in different times and seasons, because we get to experience today what someone might have all the time natally, if that makes sense to you. So here there is an ability to sort through a lot of information and sift out and extract out the golden nuggets here, and then discard the rest that isn't useful, that isn't supporting the whole system in some way, shape, or form. The one thing we do need to be careful of, like for example, we have the Sun square Jupiter. We need to be careful of taking on too much. Okay, even like Mercury is in opposition to Saturn. So this is gonna give us some like restrictions and difficulties and limitations, but we need to be careful not to overdo it and not to force the issue, and know our limits, and making sure that we are providing some time to just shut off the mind, because that's the thing with all of this Virgo energy is and then that pressure of Saturn. It's like we feel like we need to constantly be on and constantly be figuring something out and working through something, or sorting through something, or solving some kind of problem. That's the thing with Virgo energy. It wants to solve problems again and again and again and never again. Why put it off to tomorrow when I could do it right now? And so, as you can tell, like workaholism or just overworking, overdoing it is something that we have to be very cautious of with these planets here in Virgo. Okay, so I do want to mention that we have a grand trine energy happening here in the background, which I absolutely love and adore. We have the sun here at 24 degrees, and then we've got Uranus here at 27 degrees, and then we at 29 degrees. We have Pluto. So all these are within like a 7-8 degree window here. So these are in a really powerful conversation. And when we have a grand trine, like the energies are just very activated and moving smoothly, and they're gifting us with their powers. And when we're talking about sun, Pluto and Uranus, you got to think like you personally are going through some sort of major transformation, major evolution, and you understand it, you welcome it. There is a change essentially in our identities. We are changing internally, something very profound and very deep. And I think it's very fitting the fact that we're about to enter into a whole new world, a whole new energetic landscape in this next coming year. I'm very excited to talk about 2025 year because we have 3 major planetary shifts, and this does not happen very often when you have 3 major planets moving into a whole different sign. Like the air is going to be different, okay? And so it's almost like we are getting prepped right now in our transitions and change so that we are able to handle and adapt and live in this whole new world that's about to come upon us in the year of 2025. So yeah, stay tuned when I'll do like a year ahead forecast, bringing in Chinese astrology as well as Western astrology and kind of giving you a nice overview of what to expect. Hopefully that's not 5 hours long. So this is a great grand trine that we have at our disposal essentially to power us through. And you know what? When we have this kind of support, it makes the change really doable. It's not as painful and bloody and incredibly disruptive. Like, I'm sure you've gone through some changes in life and you kind of look at the past and where you just feel better. You feel freer. You're happy that this change has happened. And so that's the thing, is like there is excitement and a looking forward to and a joy about these transitions that we're personally going through, rather than it being so grief stricken, if that makes sense. Okay, so there's that one. Let's also talk about moon, because the moon's going to be in Pisces. Let me see how long. It's going to be in Pisces for just Monday and Tuesday. And there is an affinity here. You know, moon is very nurturing, compassionate, and same with Pisces. Pisces is a water sign, so it is intuitive, it's imaginative, it's creative, and it is just very sensitive to the surroundings, sensitive to others. It desires to have this bond and connection. That's the thing with water signs, is that water signs are deep. It wants intimacy. It's open to receive the world and receive others, and also it merging with the world and merging with others too. It desires that connection and entanglement, because it wants to feel, smell, taste everything around it. So we do have a nice conversation with Moon and Mars, and we have Mars also in a water sign. Okay, now we talked about this last week, but one thing to remember is when we're dealing with the energy and the passion and the enthusiasm to move forward with something, there's going to be a stipulation. The stipulation is that you have to actually care. You have to love it. You have to be excited about it. You have to have an emotional connection to the things that you're doing. It is going to be very hard to move forward and act in things that you are not emotionally invested in, things that you just don't care about. You're not going to have the energy for it. So this is going to be a theme that we see for a bit, especially while Mars is in here for a good period of time. I believe it's until October, sometime in October or November. So that's what we got going with our moon. Moon also has a square to Uranus. So look, there's just Uranus has a lot of conversations. Okay. I mean, look at even Saturn is communicating with Uranus. The point is, there will consistently be a lot of change in your life, internally as well as externally. It's a combination of both. So, we need to we need to be ready for this and find our center in all of this change. And like I said, this grand trine, it does give us our center. It gives us that power. That Pluto and the sun gives us this centering, grounding, inner like power and strength that we can hold on to, where there is that steadiness within, while the shifts and changes are happening. Okay, so that is Monday. Let's go ahead and talk about Tuesday. Oh, actually, there is a T square that I may want to mention. Let me see. Okay, so the T square is between the Sun and Jupiter and Neptune. And so you'll see that there is an opposition. So this is like a red triangle. You have the Sun and Neptune in opposition. And I know there's a lot of lines in here, but there's actually a red line over to Jupiter from Neptune, and there is another red line from Sun over to Jupiter. And this is something I talked earlier about, not overdoing it. You know, the Sun and Jupiter in this square, don't overdo it. But let's talk about these planets, because when we're talking about a red triangle like this, which is also known as a T square, that there's a lot of tension there, and the apex, where the top of the triangle is Jupiter. So Jupiter, there's a lot of pressure going into Jupiter, and this creates action. We don't need to be afraid of these red lines and squares and oppositions. They are like achievement triangles. They get things going. There's energy for change and growth and expansion too. And when I look at these three, one of the things we need to be cautious about, especially with Sun opposite Neptune, is having some confusion or delusional ideas about our vision, about our future. Because if you think about Jupiter, Jupiter is like the greater vision, right? It's the great plans that we have for our life too. It's what we believe in. It represents our belief system. It represents our philosophies about life, also our religion. And so one thing we need to, one of the changes that's happening is just essentially like how we view life. What is true? What is real? What is valuable? And so I talked about there is internal changes that we're going through, but there's also external changes. And this is speaking largely to your internal change, is that thankfully we've got Sun and Mercury and in Virgo that is sorting and sifting through a lot of information and a lot of just, things that are coming at us, and situations and circumstances and perspectives and opinions, right? And so there is something changing in the way that we think, in the way that we are now planning for the rest of our lives and the rest of our future. How are we thinking about, the next half of our life, essentially? So that's the thing that we are being tested in, essentially, and we need to check over and over again and make sure that we're not allowing clouded perceptions and delusions to become like our ultimate truth and the right way of thinking and being, and of course subsequently doing. So this is a lot about your perception of reality. Okay, and making sure that we are grounded in truth, and also seeing, because Neptune is very it's very spiritual and it's very imaginative. So it's kind of like this balance between the grounded practical, things that are realistic, but then we have all of this activity here with our imagination and things that are not like of this world essentially. And how are we like rectifying the two? How do they connect? How do they interact? So as I said, this is a very complicated subject matter, but if you are feeling like even spiritually you're going through a lot of changes, and maybe your views and thoughts about, your spirituality before and what it is today, like there's been some change. There has been some differences. Maybe something you once hardcore believed that you're not as intensely supporting that belief anymore, or something you never thought of. Now your eyes are open to some other kind of perspective, and now you're just like, wow, where has this been all my life? So it can come in either way, but just let me know if you're going through that internally yourself. Comment below if you're seeing the world through different eyes, more so, lately than you have in the past. Okay, so that is our 1T square to mention. I'm gonna, I feel like some people keep messaging me. Okay, turn off those dinging. I'm sorry about the dingings if you hear them in the background. So let's continue on to Tuesday. Tuesday's our big, big day. This is the day of our lunar eclipse in Pisces. Now, I really want you to pay attention to this one because I'm going to throw some dates at you, and I want you to take a moment to reflect on these dates. But first things first, let's just kind of break this down. Here are the nodes. You see this headphone looking thing on the right. It's in the sign of Aries. And then you have the upside down headphones over here. These are the nodes of the moon, and this is essentially it's a point in the chart, and that's actually what indicates if we are having an eclipse. So if the sun or the moon is near sun and moon, near these nodes, then we are dealing with an eclipse. And we have yes, the nodes in Aries and Libra, but our moon here is in Pisces. And so this is a lunar eclipse, and these nodes are almost done here in Aries, and these nodes are going to be transitioning in January into Pisces. So since it's doing that, this is acting as a foreshadowing. This is a preview of what's to come. Look, these nodes, they stay in a sign for about a year and a half. And so they're going to change over. These nodes are going to change over into Pisces and Virgo in January, and it will be there until about July of 2026. So what I want you to do for this eclipse, and you don't have to do any kind of specific ritual or anything. It's not recommended to do. So the eclipse is strong enough of a full moon. This is essentially a full moon, and it will do what it wants to do. One of the things we want to listen to is Pisces is about like our hidden dreams, our hidden visions, our imagination, our goals and aspirations. Okay, this is the one of the dreamier types of signs here in Pisces, and it is sandwiched though between Neptune and Saturn. It's actually pretty close to Saturn. It's only 2 degrees away from Saturn. And what is Saturn? Saturn is the most realistic, practical planet. It is grounded. It likes structure. It likes the material things, okay, the material realm. Whereas Neptune in Pisces, those are all in the ethereal realm. This is of the spiritual realm. This is, where visions and dreams come from. And so it's fascinating because then, it's all in opposition to the sun as well as Mercury in a grounded sign. So what the main themes here is bringing your visions, your dreams, your imagination into this real world, okay, into this realm, into the material dimension, and bringing some feet to your dreams, having them manifest into physical reality is essentially what's happening. And so the Saturn is also, it cuts out things that it doesn't need. It cuts out the excess as well. And so with this, it will help us connect to dreams that are also realistic, not like completely fantastical and so out there that it can't make it in this world. There's a timing for everything, and you're going to have more than one vision, more than one dream as well. It's about timing. And that's the thing about Saturn, is that it's the master of time. It rules time. So the way I love seeing this is that it is connecting us to the dreams and visions that we have, the secret hidden goals and aspirations that we have, but the ones that now is the right time and season for them to be brought into this world. Now, look, it doesn't mean all of it's happening right now, okay? Because this is a partial lunar eclipse, and it is a north nodal eclipse here too. So north node, when it's connected to the north node in this way, it is about new beginnings. That's the main theme of eclipses. It's new beginnings. It's great beginnings and great endings. So this is the theme of great beginnings here. And these nodes transition, I said back in January, I'm sorry, in the future, in January, they're going to be coming in. So in terms of like your dreams that want to be physical in this realm, it's going to give you the hints and the messages of what you're going to be doing in 2025 and into 2026. So this is why I say pay attention. Notice like what is calling your attention actually. What are you starting to get a little bit excited about in putting and investing your life towards? And what are you hearing? What's in the air? What are your friends like talking about? Maybe it's a book that you're drawn to, and that gives you a bit of a hint of the direction you're going to be going in 2025 and 2026. So this is more of like, it's not going to create the massive change right now, but for the next couple of weeks, you're going to start getting some hints. You're going to start getting these ideas, and it's going to start like stewing inside of you. And then when, next year comes around, now you're probably going to do a lot more implementation and action towards those things. Okay, so that's the theme of our eclipse. And let me know if you've already been sensing it. If you've been sensing something, comment below, like what has been stirring inside of you, because this is also, it's like 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after is essentially like the window of an eclipse. So it's just very concentrated on this day. But a few days later, that might be when you get a pretty significant message or a sign. So pay attention to those synchronicities. Another way to think of this too is looking back at June 2006 until December of 2007. Okay. So that's a good like year and a half. That's when these nodes, the north node and the south node, were in Pisces and Virgo. So that was the last time. It was a while ago because these cycles happen. They return every 18.6 years. So if you can recall back, okay, June 2006 until December 2007, what were some of the things that were happening in your life? It doesn't mean this next cycle is going to be exact as that, but you get an idea. To me, it's like you get a hint of that energy. You get like a waft of that energy to know, oh, wow, those were, I can tell you for me personally, I went through major changes. I ended up breaking up with somebody. I ended up buying a house, and I had my very first manic episode, and that was the start of my diagnosis of bipolar disorder. So hopefully I'm not going to go through all of that again. but that tells me, that's an indication that Ooh, I got a lot to prepare for 2025 to 2026. This is going to be quite a life altering season for me. Another thing to look at is take a look at your chart, all right? And take a look at where Pisces, you see this, this is the water sign. It's like the tail of the fish going in opposite directions. So take a look at what house that this Pisces is in. What house is this Pisces over in yours? In this example, this is a Libra rising. We have Pisces over the sixth house. All right. The house is that number. And that number indicates what area of your life is this going to be affected. For in my situation, that area of my life was in the seventh house, which is relationships. So which is why I went through a major breakup at that time. This was, long time ago. Boyfriends when you were really young and dumb, right? Anyways, so take a look and let me know down below what house is your Pisces over? Is it 1, 2, 3, 8, 10? Like, what is it over? Because that'll give you a bit of hint of what part of your life, at least, you're going to be getting these types of energies from, or two. Okay, very good. And I also want to mention down below, we'll have links to how to look up your chart properly. And also, I have a free PDF for you. And in the PDF, it's a simple layout of the houses of like house 1, what does that mean? House 2, what does that mean? So that you can refer to this. It's a free PDF download. So go ahead and click down below so that you have a better idea and better grasp of like, oh, what part of my life is going to go through all of these changes and this foreshadowing. Okay. All right. So that is our Tuesday, and which is a big day, and you don't have to do anything specific. Just my biggest recommendation is observe and pay attention, take notice. Where do you get these, like where your ears perk up, or like your heart just opens up when you hear about something? Those are all very important signs and messages for you. Now, Wednesday is the 18th. We have a shift with our moon. Moon is now going into Aries, which is a very active and fiery sign, very sharp senses, a little bit more high strung, very impulsive at times, confident, opinionated, charming. Look, it's going to want to go do things or be out in the world. It's not recluse over here with the moon here in Aries. So this is also very good for emergencies. That's the thing with Aries. It can handle hard stuff. It can handle crises. It can handle problems. And the fact that we have all this Virgo attention here, and there is an opposition, you're going to be able to handle things so well, so quick, so fast, and be able to sift through a ton of information and know like, okay, what's the next best step? So that creative problem solving is kind of like the big theme also that I noticed for this week as well. We do have Moon in conversation with Mars, so square Mars. It could be a little bit irritable, a little bit moody. People testing your patience here. That is very possible. Short-tempered, to give you an idea. Now we also have Moon conjunct Neptune. So this is much closer now than it was on Tuesday. So also a lot of like intuition being heightened, a lot of imagination being stimulated, sensitivity to others. You might be overstimulated by people on this day. So make sure that people are not annoying you if you're going to be around them. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else. Nope, that's good for Wednesday. Let's take a look at Thursday. I'm going to do my best to not mention every aspect, but just ones that I feel like are important mentioning. We do have a Mars and Saturn trine. So that's a blue triangle line between Mars and Saturn. I really like this one because it gives a lot of strength and discipline and perseverance and ambition. I mean, Mars is great for starting stuff, and then Saturn will, if it takes 30 years, it takes 30 years. It stays with it. It completes. Mars starts, Saturn completes. So that's why I love Saturn. I know Saturn gets a bad rap sometimes, but I really appreciate its consistency and its structure and discipline. Absolutely. So it gets the job done. So you have energy and you have more patience. Okay. Because just Mars alone can be very like, I'm excited about 1 second and then I'm not. Whereas Saturn, whether you're excited about it or not, it doesn't matter. Saturn is consistently showing up. So I like this energy that it's providing. It brings some stability to all of the activity. So great follow through energy, essentially. We do have Moon also in a lovely sextile with Jupiter. And, Moon's in Aries and Jupiter is in Gemini. So there's going to be a lot of like hope and excitement, just feeling really good and feeling like, wow, I'm really looking forward to this next cycle of my life. Like there is excitement for the future and also just a willing to just dive into the future too. Sometimes there are seasons in life where you're just like, I don't know if I want to go through with this. I'm scared of what, the next season is about to unfold. And I don't know if I want to walk through that season. I don't know if I'm interested. But what I love about this configuration is that you're ready. You're ready. You're ready to, even if it's a little rough, you're geared up for it. You're geared up for it. Even if it's challenging, you're ready for the challenge. I think of my workout. Like, I don't always love working out, but I also love how it feels like moving through the workouts too. And especially at the end, I feel on top of the world. So yeah, so you're excited for the challenge too. Okay, so that is Thursday. Let's take a look at Friday. Friday, we have a shift now. Our moon is no longer in Aries. It has moved into Taurus. It has ingressed into Taurus. And this is exalted here. It's super happy here. Moon can be very erratic. I mean, look at it. It moves in a sign every 2.5 days, 2 to 3 days, depending, right? And so since that's the case, it's very changeable. It's very changeable. It's erratic. It is consistently changeable. How about that? It is consistently changeable. But Taurus is fixed. It is steady. It is stable. So it brings that calmness to the moon. It brings great powers of concentration and focus. That's the thing with earth signs. It's super consistent. It's super consistent. And it takes a while to come to a decision. I know we have all this amazing powers right here with Mercury and Sun, like sifting through a ton of information, but the moon is going to make you slow down. Like, let's go over it again and a third time just to make sure. But once that moon here in Taurus has made a decision, if you make a decision with moon in Taurus, that's pretty solid. Like, Taurus takes a while to make a decision, a moon in Taurus, but once it makes a decision, it doesn't budge after that. Like it's solid. It's fixed. It's decision. So something to consider. If you don't do anything, at the least, like pay attention to where the moon is, because as an empath and as a hypersensitive, we are deeply affected by the condition and the state of the moon. And it's good for you to get to know, like, oh my gosh, when moon is in Pisces, I typically feel this way. When moon is in Taurus, I typically feel that way, to give you an idea. Okay. And it also loves quality, like luxury, good food, good materials, nice sheets. Probably get some flowers on Friday to adore in your house. Get some candles going. It cares about good mood and aesthetics and environment as well. All right. Now, moon is in opposition to Venus. So this can create a need for companionship and just connection with others, but it also can cause some issues around being able to understand one another, because it's an opposition. So there could be some tension and conflict in the connection or in the communication too. It's like you want to be around someone, but then they annoy you, but you don't want them to leave, kind of like that kind of tension. Okay, so we also have Moon square the Pluto right here. And this can cause some compulsion, some destructive behaviors too. So I would say with Moon being here and in opposition to Venus, be careful not to overindulge in food and drink. Okay, because I think that could be a tendency here. If you're not feeling that great and then wanting to lean on food and drink to make you feel better, but just be careful not to go in excess, please. All right, so that is Friday. Let's go on to Saturday. And Saturday, we still have our moon in Taurus, which is very nice. It is in trine with our Mercury, so great level of communication, conversation, really being able to grasp and understand things well, and being able to say what you feel easily. So I like, even for like, if you want to give a presentation, you want to record a video, I don't know. But anything with writing, speaking, teaching, like this is absolutely on your side. I highly recommend doing those kinds of activities if that's part of your life. So really in touch with your feelings, and all types of communication are going to be very positive on this day, very smooth, easy, no problems. Also great analytical skills that are available to you. Look how close Mercury and Sun are. So yeah, you're gonna be very smooth in your speech. Now, we've got Moon that is conjunct Uranus. This is pretty close. It's about 10 degrees. It's within that 10-degree orb. And your intuition is going to be heightened. You might get some like lightning strike revelations. And remember, that's something we need to pay attention to throughout the next couple of weeks. I feel like on Saturday though, with this setup, it's going to be a lot easier. Like you're going to have access to those signs, messages, synchronicities really easily on Saturday. So again, really pay attention. Really pay attention. Okay, so that's Saturday. Let's take a look at Sunday. Our moon has transitioned now. It has now traveled over to Gemini at this point. And moon in Gemini is also very active. It's very imaginative. It is very intellectual. It needs to learn. And now we have Jupiter too in Gemini. So they're both in the same sign. So that's even just going to be heightened and expanded. So you're going to want to have some, like higher level conversations. How about that? Higher level conversations, learn some new things you have never learned before, and really just want to expand your mind, your perceptions of things, or just expand your learning in a particular subject matter. This would be a good time to do some kind of study. Not only that, you also have Moon in trine with Pluto, and Pluto is very investigative. So if you need to learn very detailed subject matters, complex subject matters, this would be a great day to invest some time in doing that. So maybe something like you've tried to learn before that you weren't getting it. It just wasn't coming through. This would be a great day to revisit that, because it'll probably just click, 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 click with great ease. And we have a lot of these grand trines, like extra grand trines. Do you see these there's like multiple of these blue triangles within the chart. And that conversation is happening between, okay, to give you an idea, the sun, the moon, and Pluto. And talk about like self-awareness. This is also a great time to do any kind of deep personal healing, spiritual, emotional healing work. You're going to have great awareness at this time. And we have also between, oh dear, decline. Sorry, guys. No, that's not what I want. Okay. I'm sorry. I had a phone call and then it just messed everything up. Another one we've got going is between Mercury and Uranus and Pluto. So your conversations are going to be so transformative. You'll probably find yourself saying things like, did I really say that? Where did that come from? You're going to be getting great knowledge and understanding and wisdom that just comes like out of the sky, it feels like, whether it's for yourself or whether it's for somebody else. We also have that Sun and Uranus and Pluto that I talked about, just that incredible power of transformation where it's clean. It's like a clean transformation. It's done in a way that is just so pristine, is not messy. It's like going through like spiritual surgery, essentially, like inner surgery, but it's done with such accuracy and precision that you don't have a scar left behind. I mean, it's just smooth and easy. Okay, so the changes that we are very lucky. The changes we're going through, I mean, is we're very lucky to have these grand trines here because it just makes it clean, smooth, more effortless, just way less painful than it could be otherwise. So it's all in our favor. It's all in our favor to just like reinvent ourselves and to emerge out into the world. So come out, please come out and share of yourself because it will bring so much good into the world. You know, I'm not saying you got to be like crazy public, or do what I do or, do videos like this, but it's just with the people around you. Like be present, interact, engage with the people around you, share of yourself because you're really invited and welcome to fully express and all of us are going through it as well. So we can connect on that level. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed just me in doing these forecasts, like how I'm tapping and connecting into a different aspect of my own gifts and absolutely loving it. So, this has just been one beautiful addition to my already lovely practice that I have. And yeah, so I'm showing you in real time. Okay. One thing to note, another big change on Sunday besides all this yummy goodness that's happening with the moon and all these beautiful grand trines here. But our sun has officially shifted into Libra season, okay? And we have Venus in Libra. It's only here for a little bit longer. Look, it's at the 29th degree. There's only 30 degrees in a sign. But this is well placed because, the host of this home is there and giving great service to the guest, which is the sun here in Libra. This is going to be a time where we're going to want to embrace a bit more pleasure and fun. I mean, now we have two planets here, so you're going to prioritize having a good time, having a good time, enjoying beauty, the arts, good food, great like social hours. We're going to be in the next month, we're going to be prioritizing our socializing, going to the theater, really supporting the arts, going to a musical. This would be a great season to be doing something like that. So we'll talk about that more in the next week's forecast as it just transitioned. But this is a great time to just play. We will be prioritizing play. We've done so much Virgo in the last month, which is about grounded, practical, reality, things that we need to take care of, like doing the dishes and, eating healthy food, like all those basics. And now we get to do a little bit more indulging here, like guilt-free indulging and play with our Libra season. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out for this forecast. Again, please make sure to like, subscribe so that more people can get this information as well. And please let us know what you're learning from this eclipse. What house is this eclipse over? And check out all the links down below, the PDF for the houses. And that's something you can keep on hand to refer to because I will be, referring to, hey, what house is this in your life? And get to know your chart. Understand what energies preside over the different areas of your life, and they get and those different areas, those different houses get activated based upon the transits. So this is why we go through all kinds of seasons and cycles and come back around as a planet does a whole full cycle around the zodiac and return back to, you know, where it is in your chart. We call those returns, like a Saturn return, a Mars return, okay, to give you an idea. So thank you so much for hanging in with me, and we look forward to seeing you in the next forecast.